Good morning. Hold your horses. It's Friday. We're here before the weekend, but before we go off to play, we've got to do the Influencers podcast one more time. I'm bringing on the best of the best for Friday. This is Steve Brumer, partner in BH IoT Group. He's a personal friend of mine. We go back a long way here in the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce in Suwanee, Georgia. Steve, welcome to the Influencers Podcast, man.
And I've waited a long time, Dr. Bill, to be on this thing. So I'm really happy. I'm stoked to do this.
Good deal. You were a fixture right here in Suwanee where we live for so many years, but I see something that looks like palm trees in the background. What
Oh
the heck
yes,
do you
yeah.
do?
Finally, I've come to the realization that Swanee, after the kids graduated from North Gwinnett, it was time to move on, and so we've moved permanently down here to Vero Beach, Florida.
Vero Beach, Florida has a really warm place in my heart. My
Oh, really?
One of my favorite cousins lives there and has for the last 30 years. So I'll have to get you guys together. Uh, the Callahers are in their 80s, so they'll fit right in with your age group.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I would love that because I have many friends around the country whose parents or relatives have settled here in the retirement age in Vero, and I am on the list if they ever need anything. So I'm here for them.
I'll tell you another final story about Vero Beach before we get into the IoT discussion. My associate dentist that came to work with me for at least 10 years came from Vero Beach, and he was run out of town, not by the sheriff, not by angry patients, but by 3 hurricanes in 1 year.
Oh, yeah. I know that year very well.
It took a toll on that
Yeah.
island.
I mean, that is the risk you take. I mean, we live, I'm 300 steps from the ocean right here out the window, and it's the risk you take, but
Yeah.
your homeowner's insurance is high enough that God forbid something happens. But I can assure you the next those two within several months of each other were insane. So.
Absolutely. Well, when we started looking up people to have on the Influencers podcast and your name popped up, I go, I know that guy. I know about what I do, in the IT business. And I found out something about you I didn't know even when you were here in Suwanee, because I thought you were in the telecom business more in my mind, but you were actually in the IoT business, Internet of Things. So that's what we want to talk about today. Our audience is going to be blessed today with what you have to share. So let me let you get into it and tell us the what happened story. How'd you get into this stuff? Because you're a veteran for many years.
Yeah, I mean, I got into the wireless business in 1987, so I won't tell you how. Don't do the reverse math, please, to figure out that. But I got into wireless in 1987, owned wireless frequencies and channels, and did two-way radios, and did all kinds of. I was part of the original BlackBerry team with those ugly phones that you hated, but they were fantastic, amazing stuff. Exactly. And then I got into helping Coca-Cola with its Coca-Cola vending machine, which became a IoT box where we were able to look at the inventory. We were looking at the refrigeration temperature. Remember when we used to put coins and dollar bills in the machines, any kind of jams in there that happened? So I worked on that in the very beginning, and it was called machine to machine back then. It wasn't even IoT. IoT has been a relatively new descriptive word for this business, but it used to be machine to machine. So the Coke machine would talk to the other machines, which would talk through wireless technology back to a back-end system where they were able to monitor those Coca-Cola machines, just like today they monitor everything that you can imagine that in your life today, from your car, which is an IoT machine, to your refrigerators and anything that's connected in some way, shape, or form to a sensor. So that's why I got into it. So then I've been in it ever since. I owned a company in Norcross called Global Wireless Data. We ended up selling that. And after that, I decided that I wanted to kind of give back to the IoT and wireless space, and built a strategy advisory firm, which is BH IoT Group, where we help companies monetize, commercialize, basically make money with their products or services in the industry. It's amazing how much disruptive technology is being built by geeks that really don't know how to sell it well, or where to sell it, or what the price is going to be, or how to support things. So that's what we've been spending the last 15, 20 years doing. And it's been very successful because we don't compete with anybody. We just want to make money. How do you make money? And so that's what our focus is all about.
And you never had a failure, I'm sure.
I'm not going that way at all. The failures have been it's interesting with geeks that think they know better than everybody because they're geeks and they read a book, but the failures have been a lack of education. It's been the cause of it. So, and sometimes you just can't help people. There's a lot of people in this world that you do think listen, and they don't. And so you just kind of throw up your hands and go, okay, well, have fun, and walk and go on to the next thing.
Yeah, as a consultant, you give people advice, insights as to what would work, wouldn't work. And sometimes they'll take the advice, sometimes they won't.
Right. Exactly.
And it's up for them to decide to fail or not, right?
Well, I don't know, again, I know we talk about a lot of different things, but I've been in zero 3 times. So I've failed, and if you ask my children, what has been the biggest lesson they've learned from me in their 20 something years of life has been, hey, Dad's been at zero, picked up put on his big boy pants and kept going and figured out another way to make money. So, there's a lot of that has to happen to some of these entrepreneurials that are out there that need to learn some valuable lessons. It's not all success. You're not necessarily in the right gene pools, so you got to go work for it, and you got to figure out what you're going to do different. And one of the things that you said, in here is, what's your greatest failure? Your failure story. 9/11 was mine. My business partner and I were in Raleigh, North Carolina at RTP at IBM, about to sell our company to IBM. And we took the first flight out of Atlanta to Raleigh, rented a car, drove over to IBM, sat down in a big conference room with the big wigs. And all of a sudden, by 9:20 in the morning, the world collapsed, the world changed, and we walked out of there with no deal. So, and then walked straight into 9/11, the post 9/11 world of how the hell do you make any money in business? So, you think about
what a day.
And then we ended up having to drive home from Raleigh to Atlanta to get to our cars on that night. And you're just sitting in there were hours of drive time with my business partner at the time, dead silence. You just get overwhelmed between physically what happened on that day, mentally what happened one day. Oh, and by the way, we didn't get the deal done. So, yeah. So,
Oh, I know right where I was, and I remember the stun in our dental office. People were just walking around going, what just happened?
Right.
So, we relate to other people's failures better than our own sometimes. You see people doing things that are like not smart. I remember I self-financed a dentist to buy my first practice. And of course, I had to take it back. So I learned not to self-finance major sale purchases, That's going to be a disaster waiting to happen. And I relate that to people all the time. Don't take the money back, get the financing done by the bank, pay your dues.
Right.
And go forward. So what do you see other people do in the IoT arena that have not worked?
The IoT space requires a lot of pieces of the ecosystem to work cohesively in order for it to be successful. So when you think about, needing sensors and software and hardware and networks and platforms and analyzing that data and building, if the temperature goes high, then the fan gets turned on. That's the basics of IoT, very, very basic stuff. And a lot of people just take it for granted that it's just going to work. And there's a lot of pieces, there's a lot of partnerships. A lot of people don't understand that it may take multiple companies and their significant product offerings in order to squish it all together to be able to integrate everything to solve the customer's problems. And a lot of people don't have the patience or the knowledge or the connections in the industry to get every one of those pieces on the ecosystem together cohesively in order to solve the customer's problems. So that's one of the huge challenges that we have in our space, because IoT does not come in a box. There's been very few success stories around in a box. Like, it comes out, you open up the box, you plug it in and it works. That's not been proven to be successful.
So integration is a big part of the process, and
Correct.
It's not the end user who's got those issues. It's the middle people who are selling the products.
Yeah, I mean, I say in my speeches a lot over the last several years, if I were able to start all over, if I needed to start all over again, I would build a systems integration firm for the mid-tier business arena. I'm not worried about the big guys, right? So the big corporations of America have Accentures and PwCs and Capgeminis and everybody else to be able to do that. For us in the middle tier, and I look at that as 500, 250 employees in South, they need help. And to be able to be that single throat to choke is what I use in my speeches, to be the ones that are in control and understand how to support everything that gets put together. So the systems integration pieces, is very, very important.
Good. Well, let's explore that a little more as we go along. What's motivating you in your 70s to do this? I'm in my 70s. I'm still on fire to do what we're doing. Why are we working when most people are sitting on the beach instead of looking out at the beach while you're typing away?
Yeah, I get that. I get asked a lot that question a lot. I think it is that I love the business. I have been extremely blessed to be in an industry segment that continues to expand and grow and has been recession proof and worldly proof, in the sense that people still need IoT to do things for themselves, whether it's autonomous vehicles or drones or meters or utilities or smart parking or smart buildings. It's still amazing, the new stuff that's coming out. And then you add security in, all the cybersecurity pieces that are associated with the controls and the idea of verifying that data that goes through there. So I'm learning every day, Dr. Bill. I would say that is the cool thing about this. And I'm afraid to stop because I don't know what the hell I would do. And I know that you and I have talked about this, but I still play basketball at my age, right? So I play on a very competitive level. I play on the USA national team. We just won the world championships down in Argentina. Yep. So, you can go to YouTube and watch us play. And so I think the balance between the family scenario and still being able to contribute work-wise and help people and help companies keeps me motivated to do this. And the fear of I've never really stopped. So what am I going to, so you're right. What am I going to do? I'm going to go into my Chage lounge and sit at the beach and fry, I'd like to slow down a little bit, just like you would. I mean, we like to try and do, and you have, you've kind of slowed down a little bit. And I'm planning on doing that next year. I have, last year was hell. I had 97 flight segments, 145,000 miles. I can't do that anymore. And so I think last year was my last, okay, this is insane. Got to slow down a little bit. And then my substitute is that, I've been blessed to have a wife that knows that basketball is my passion. You've seen me post on LinkedIn and Facebook enough about you got to have a passion outside of your career. And basketball has been extremely kind to me in my entire life. And so this year with the USA national team, I'll be on the road 6 weeks out of the year playing basketball. And, so.
Which NBA player do you resemble in your game? I got to know, are you a John Havlicek?
No, I'm more of a Bird man. I'm a Larry Bird guy. I love passing the ball. I love making the dishes to the big guys. I love looking at the court and understanding where everything is. And, I got Larry Bird up there. I got Larry Bird up there. There. I got a new one with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. So I'm a Larry Bird disciple, I would say, is the best.
Lovely. You couldn't pick a better human for that.
Exactly. Farm boy, making it big on his own.
I didn't see Bird play personally, but I did see Pete Maravich, and he played against John Mingelt at Auburn back in the 70s.
Yeah, it's going to be. I kind of feel bad that I want Caitlin to beat his record next week, but it's the old guy talking. God, it's been a good record. It's been a long record of that, and to have that broke, it's kind of
Pistol Pete can never be replaced. He can only be admired.
I agree. Totally agree.
Well, thanks for your sharing of that personal story. I love the basketball fever you've got. It's wonderful to see somebody working hard at being successful. Number one in the world. That's an accomplishment.
Oh, it was. I got to tell you, it was the most emotional thing you could be a part of. The idea that you're wearing the USA jersey and you're representing the country at an event like that, and then you win and you get the gold medal on you, and you just go through that whole high of that. Now, again, this is old man Olympics, right? It's old man stuff, but just the idea. We had to walk in the stadium, the first night, and the national anthem's playing, and you're folding up the flag, and here's grown men with tears in their eyes, just like, holy crap, this is really cool. So it was an amazing event, and you walk away going, man, I'm blessed. God is good. He's kept me healthy enough to do this.
I love it. What are the 3 top secrets that you can model from what IoT related stories?
Well, I know you asked me to have an answer for this question, so I'm going to give you 2 kind of variants of the answers. Okay. So you said, what are the 3 success secrets? Not this. I'm going to say from a business standpoint and a personal standpoint, you have to learn to be a great speaker. And whether that is going to Toastmasters as a young kid or spending the time to be in your debate club, you have to learn how to speak in public. While it still continues to be one of the biggest fears of humans, right? As we all know, the idea that you can get on stage, and I've spoken to 10,000 people, 5,000 people, 50 people last week in Fort Lauderdale. You have to learn how to be able to handle yourself without panic and be able to get your point across in a speech on a stage to people that are looking. One of the most difficult things I've ever done was be in China and be in front of 9,000 people in a hall and have 8,990 of them with headsets on interpreting my English to Chinese. I'm looking at people in the audience going, all right, no one's responding. It's kind of weird, but you have to be able to handle that, right? So I think being a great speaker is really important. I think going to trade shows and shows that will help motivate you and you'll be able to learn from. Trade shows are not all about fun. It is about learning from people, going to trade show booths, going to sessions, and learning. So getting out. It's amazing how many professors and students, and I picked on them because I do a lot of college campus stuff, including my alma mater, where I'm building an IoT living lab in Tampa at University of South Florida. But the professors don't get out into the real world or go to trade shows, and that means the students don't either. So you got to be able to get out and be a part of it. And then the last thing I'm going to say, while technology has changed over the last several years, you need to go to China and learn and see what technology is all about there. So many of our products and technology related products are built in Shenzhen and Guangzhou and provinces within China. And if you don't take the time to understand their culture, how they go about the technology, not the idea of the patents and the IP and all that kind of stuff. I'm not getting into the politics of it, but the idea that if you're going to be in technology, you better go there and learn a little bit from them, because I know it'll make your business better. So those are my 3 success secrets as it relates to business.
I like it. I did the Toastmasters. I did 50 to 100 trade shows in my career. I was in them as a booth. I was in them as a attendee. I was in them as a speaker. Everything you said is exactly right. If you want to rise to the top, you got to do what Steve says. What is the company motto over there at BH IoT?
Well, it's interesting. It's from a motto standpoint, I would say there's 2 different ones. One for our clients, which is we want to figure out how to make money, because obviously that is why you're in business in the first place. So how to make money, it's the speeches I give all around how to make money and where the revenue is coming from and that sort of stuff. And then our company motto for John and I and what we have accomplished is life balance. It's got to be, you got to have the family, you've got to have God, you got to have health in your life, and you've got to be able to do the right things for people. And so and that motto has definitely grown to where we are at our age, right? So it's amazing when you sit down and you ask that question of a 30-year-old, I'm like, oh, I don't know. What's my motto? I don't know what my motto is. It's not something the CMO decided to give you or something. It's something, what is it for you? So I think that as we have gotten older, I think the motto for our personal lives as it relates to business is a lot easier.
Yeah, I like that. Half the people I interview on an influencers podcast do not have a company motto.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's like, why would you go on a podcast where you're going to get asked about the company motto and you don't even have one? So that's kind of like shock.
Yeah, it shouldn't be shocking. I think the younger people that are in business and are on the podcast sometimes lose sight of things around life, right? They take a lot of things for granted. They don't realize how much of a life balance challenges there are, right? Going to school. I mean, there was one great thing. I mean, when I sold the business and the kids were going to Swanee Elementary, I bought a couple of buildings across the street in those office condos so they could come after school to the conference room and work. And I could go over there for lunch anytime. I kind of knew at that point that, God, I lost out on a few years there of where I was absent and on the road, and then so you got to understand that balance.
Yeah, if I had to do it over again, one of the things I would recommend anybody with students is do what you did. That's even better. But buy a house in the college town that is a residential situation. Put your kid in it. Let them be the owner operator of a boarding house, and pay your way through college, and then sell the building when they're done. And they went to college for free. Everybody should do that.
I know a lot of people. I know several people in Swanee that were either buying a place in Athens or were buying something downtown, like a condo something. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a wonderful idea to learn, how to be a renter and how to be a landlord.
Yeah, we did one thing good. We bought a house on Lake Murray when my son was at the University of South Carolina. We bought a foreclosure and sold it 5 years later after he lived there and made money.
Yeah.
So, going out of state to South Carolina was not very inexpensive.
Yeah, that's great. That's a
And
great
that,
move.
that helped. That was one smart thing I did among other dumb things.
One.
So why would somebody buy from your business?
Because we have 30, 40 years of experience, each of us in the business, along with our partners. People come to us because of our knowledge of the industry. We know what not to do. We know where the failures have come from. The connections and the people we know within our industry. I hate this, you and I know what a Rolodex is. Our Rolodex is pretty good, right? Exactly. And so people buy from people they like and they trust and they know that are going to help them be successful. So that's why people buy from us still.
Your ideal? Yeah, I know why I would buy from you, but I just wanted you to tell other people. Who's your ideal client right now?
A company that is building innovative technology that can make a difference in the IoT space, that is looking for a little bit better business model to help them make money and bring something to market. So it could be a large company. I mean, we have large companies that are clients of ours, $100 million, $500 million companies, and they come out with a new product within their portfolio of products, and they go, I don't know, this is a great product. We own the IP. We figure it out. Now we got to figure out how to sell it. So I think it's really ideal kind is somebody who's got really something cool to sell in the space but need help.
So you're a consulting firm that basically gives them business success systems.
Yeah, and a lot of what not to do, how not to price it, how not to bring it to market, who not to partner with. Do you go to AT&T and T-Mobile or Verizon, or you go to a distribution house, or do you go to another systems integrator and sell it to them and let them resell it? Should you sell it direct? I mean, it costs you a lot of money to sell products direct still today. So yeah, we help them with that, with figuring it out.
Excellent. What about your finding of clients? What do you do?
Blessed beyond belief to have a lot of referrals, right? So, I mean, we've earned the right to ask people for help, if you know anybody that needs anybody, call us. Even yesterday, I got introduced 2 weeks ago to a company in Jupiter, Florida. Never heard of them before. They're a hugely successful, I would say, systems integrator, fully baked company that provides services and customer support and installation services. And I was on with them yesterday, and I said, listen, I'm not looking to sell you on anything. I'm not here to ask for a retainer or anything else. But if there's anything I can do to help you, like if you have an IoT project and you're kind of stuck and you need someone to come in there and be the adult in the room as it relates to the industry experience, call me and I'll figure it out, and you'll pay me whatever you think I'm worth. And so so there's a lot of times where you sit there and go, I want to help you, and then the money will come.
I understand that. Consultants and folks like that really do have a wide variety of offerings that they can benefit a company. I've been a dental consultant for many years, and so you really have to do an analysis, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you have to kind of step back and take that experience that you have and evaluate and kind of point them down that direction. And as you said in the beginning, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. So you have to do the best you can with what you have.
So somebody's looking out there and they want to know, what is the actual thing you're going to do, Steve? Do you have a well-defined product you offer?
Yeah, so we believe in statement of work outlines for everybody. We build a statement of work, we do a 2-day workshop with the client every time. It is a requirement for us to better understand who they are, what their employees are, how they're structured, how they go to market today, what they have done wrong, what's their failures have been. So this 2-day workshop allows us to, over a 30-day period, evaluate who they are and then build what the deliverables are going to be. And they have to sign off on that before we even start working with them, strictly because there are things that they have to do in order for us to help them. And a lot of times, I know that answer, or I do that, I've done that before. So it's got to be well defined, it's got to be specific, it's got to be written down, it's got to be signed and agreed to before we'll take on any client.
So when they work with you, is it a slam dunk or a layup?
That's an interesting. I'm going to say that it's a tip in. How's that? It's a tip in. Nothing is a slam dunk strictly because they're human, and certain times humans think they know it all and they're going to do whatever they want to do, no matter how they listen to you or not. And so there are those kinds of struggles. We have fired clients before, Dr. Bill. I mean, to be very honest with you, we have fired clients that just don't listen, and we just don't see, it being successful. And it's not that we're bailing on them; it's just that we're bailing on them because they really don't want to listen to us. And so we'll fire a client more than we get fired. We haven't gotten fired from a client. So,
Gotcha. Now, is there any kind of a platform that you use commonly that your company relies on? Online platform.
Online platform. For us personally, as far as the business is concerned, no.
Right.
No. Again, I'm going to say we're old school. I am not a CRM, Salesforce, guy. It takes away from face-to-face, belly-to-belly, person-to-person selling, I think. Am I old school and I write everything down? My business partner, John, will tell you that I am the note-taking king. But I write it down so I retain it better. People can use the tablet and the Surface Pro in front of clients, but no, we do not use any kind of help platform to do that for our own business at all. But I am old, so I will throw that big asterisk on there.
Yeah, my sales training class, you got your sword, and you got your shield.
There you go, baby.
Write it down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been a better way to retain the discussions in my meetings. The more I write it down, the more I remember, I retain it more. So now, my wife will tell you that there's a lot of banker's boxes out there with files and folders on them. But if somebody asks me, I know where it is. I know how to get to it. So yeah, I'm an old school guy.
Yeah, you talk about referrals being your main resource, which a mature company can rely on referrals because they have such a base of results. Yeah. Tell us about how do you convert these clients you have into the brand ambassadors that feed your company?
Yeah, I think it's a series of successes. We have certain clients that haven't been to trade shows. I'll walk around a trade show floor with them. I will teach them how to interact with exhibitors, with people in the hallways, and people in the aisles, and what to go and which sessions to attend. So if you can convert your clients to being more open and wide-eyed about what's going on around them, not only from a trade show scenario, but also in business dealings. There's a lot of companies out there that are afraid to ask for help from, say, big companies. I'm amazed at how many people are in the wireless space that have no relationship with AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile. And I'm like going, why? Well, I didn't know who to call. I didn't know, where I fit or anything else like that. I'm like, seriously, pick up the phone and call. There's some guy out there at AT&T that will talk to you about whatever you're looking to try and accomplish with them. So I do think that there's a lot of times where the interactions of what we do with clients help them long-term be their own brand ambassador for their own businesses. But it does take sometimes geeks getting out of their shell, and saying, oh God, I got to be a human. Oh my, how am I going to do that? I'm used to being at home and typing all night and doing my code. I'm like, okay, great. But coder, man, you're going to have to get out and talk to someone eventually.
Early adopters do so much better than those who wait and wait and wait. And that's one reason we always stayed on the leading edge in our business, was we always adopted everything early. We figured out the ones that didn't work and dropped them. But yeah, learn by doing and using rather than by observing others using and doing, because you get behind the curve, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example. I was on a call yesterday with a company called Patient Point out of Cincinnati. They do those digital signs that are in your lobby and in your waiting rooms, and the statistics that they have of how much more retention your patients have by being in that office, by looking at something on a digital signage that's interesting to them and towards their well-being and health, like understanding about what's going on in your mouth, what your teeth are doing, what's affecting your mouth and your teeth, from a health standpoint. And this company has been extremely successful and has the statistics to back up the idea of that. Well, a lot of doctors' offices do not have digital signage. They're anti bringing in something from the outside or being on the Wi-Fi network to download the content and the data. But when you start to look at those statistics, go, come on, seriously, this is like a good thing for you. You got to try it. So you're right. There's a lot of times where that leading edge technology that you should be using in your business, you're scared of, but you got to make that leap of faith and understand how it can help you.
Yeah, that example is right on target, Steve, because in our business, we went through a period of time where we got rid of all magazines. We got rid of all TV, generic TV, CNN,
right,
and Home Shopping Channel and whatever people would listen to. And we put in dental educational videos.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get rid of the competition for the consumer dollar. Was one purpose. We knew that people looking at magazines were looking at cruises and Gucci purses, and things that would compete with the discretionary dental dollar.
Yep.
And we wanted to focus on, if they're in the dental office, they need to be focused on how dentistry can enhance your life.
That's right. Exactly. And it shouldn't matter what area of the medical profession you're in. I think yesterday they said, was it 12 minutes? It was 12 minutes on average you're in the waiting room, and then 4 minutes in the exam room, from a downtime, meaning dead time before you're waiting for you to come in with the nurse.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Right. So you start to look and say, okay, well, what kind of content can I give them in that period of time that will educate them and know that actually our practice cares about them and their long-term care? And so it was a fascinating call yesterday on that kind of aspect of the business. It's the same reason that they're doing digital signage now at the EV charging stations. You're sitting there charging for some 26 minutes as a supercharger. The hell are you going to do? Might as well get educated on something right in front of you while they do.
Green energy, yeah.
Right.
Hey, I've got a question for you. You're famous for teaching people the benefits of IoT and AI in IoT.
Yep.
Talk about the 5 V's.
The 5 V's?
Yeah, you talked about the 5 V's: the volume, the velocity, the veracity, the variety, and the venues.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the philosophy around it is that you have to figure out where your place is within the 5Bs. Not everybody's cut out the same. And so you have to figure out while you're growing and while you're running your business, what's important to you and the growth of your business and the growth of your company and the employees. There's a lot of times where you're going down these roads around the 5Bs, and it's only because you think you're doing it. It's important to you, but not maybe to other people. So I think it's really important that you understand, I've had companies that have changed venues, and all of a sudden a miracle has happened. They went from a bad office to a good office. They went from a bad town to a good town. They added, it's just a weird little thing around a venue. You have to come to grips with the understanding as to how important that is to your life, to your employees' lives, to your business goals, and to you and your family.
Understand. As you develop consulting practice and you develop consulting systems, I always found that I was able to kind of summarize the business of dentistry for my clients, and then figure out what weaknesses they had and what strengths they had, and help them overcome where they needed to. And you've done the same thing in the IoT business, help people monetize.
Well, and because you have to be able to take the experiences that you and I have in our life, in our business career. There's a lot of times in your practice, in your consulting practice on the dentistry side, you're dealing with somebody who's come out of college, gotten their degree, did an apprenticeship with some other company, and then decided to start on their own. And you sit there and go, oh, this guy's going to fail miserably, right? He doesn't understand business. He doesn't understand insurance claims and how to get reimbursed and all kinds of stuff and what to sell. It's amazing, so I do agree that sometimes I feel like I have a responsibility with some clients. Like I have a responsibility to make sure that they do the right thing.
When you get old enough to see the whole picture, everything you look at from a 30,000-foot view, it's like an instant recognition of success and failure fixing to happen.
Yeah, correct.
And if you could just give them that warning, I know people would be grateful if you could do that for them. What are you actually grateful for today, Steve?
When you asked me that question to be prepared for it, I had several things down, but 4 or 5 things that are really important. Obviously, family, having God in your life, having friends for life, living life, and your health. And I think that I'm grateful for all of those 5 things in many different ways. It's just.
Yeah, and if you don't have one of them, it goes to the top of the list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very blessed. You got it. And one of the things you asked, what you do, and how do you start your day? I walk over to that beach and do my morning blessings.
I wish I had a beach that close.
I have a casita for you if you ever want to come down and hang out. So you can come down and do that with me. Love
Super.
That.
I am on the way. Let me pack the car and come on down.
Yeah, there may be a cloudy day like this morning, but you still know the sun's rising.
In Swanee right now, it's pouring down rain, overcast, and I'm inside. I'm glad.
Well, it's blue sky and sunny here. Sorry, sir. You can change your venues if you want.
I'll stick my tongue out at you at that one. What advice do you give that young 20-year-old self if you're going to start over, Steve?
The one I came up with was
stop dribbling, start shooting.
No. I was still doing a lot of that. Growing up in the 60s and 70s, those drugs were just crazy. And I think,
stay away.
So if I could tell my younger self not to do them and stay away from the people that are not, philosophically going to help you be a better person, then that would have been my advice to my younger self at that time.
Wonderful. Yeah. Somehow I escaped the worst of that, and it was a good thing.
Yeah.
After I turned 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
A legacy of good. I want to be remembered for being a good person, good father, good husband, good family member, good friend, good business partner, good mentor. So I want to be remembered for the good things, for being a good person and having all that capabilities. So
excellent. And I remember you just like that, so don't change it.
I'm gonna try not to. Too late to do something different now.
What is it you want to tell us about how to reach you and connect with your company?
Yeah, it's very simple. You go BH IoT Group to our website, and you can reach us out there. But I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I don't post really crappy, bad things or political things. I stay away from all that stuff as much as possible. But you can get me at Brumer at bhiotgroup.com and get a hold of me pretty easily. Google me. I have tons of videos out there, not only from my speeches and podcasts and videos that I've done. That too. There's a lot of basketball on there as well.
Love it. Got to see them.
Yeah, that's worth it.
I want to see this 3-point shot you got.
Come tomorrow. I'll be in Polk County, Lakeland, Florida at the 3-on-3 Florida State Championship. So there you go.
There you go. Playing Brazil last week. Who are you playing this week?
This week will be some Florida teams. This is to qualify us to play in the national championships next year.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
How was your time spent back in Suwannee with us today?
Well, this has been fantastic. I mean, I have to tell anybody that's out there that's ever asked by you to do this, because the question and answer question stuff that you gave me in advance were really good to go through. Like, there's a lot of times where I do podcasts and videos and webinars and stuff. It's all business. It's like no one cares about you, and they don't care about what your background is or where they came from, and you didn't do that. So that was it. And I know whether the last question is, what do you say is your final word? It took me a while to put this one together, right? Oh, there it is. It's coming. So
you're right on track, man. You're right on it.
And I said, success comes with hard work in every aspect of your life, from family to spouse to business to basketball to faith. So success comes with hard work. I'm still amazed at how many people don't understand that it takes hard work to be successful at home, with your wife, with your family, with your grandkids, with your business partner, with your business, with your clients, with basketball, with team members of your basketball. This crap is hard. Life is hard. You got to work hard, and you got to be, I'm not saying you have to work harder than everybody else or anything else like that, but don't expect this stuff to just come to you. You're going to have to work hard. And so I think that comes to those who put
their nose to the grindstone.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it goes back to what we talked in the beginning. When the hell are you going to retire and stop? I like working hard. I like putting in the time. I like learning. I like reading up on things. This whole AI stuff for you and I, it's like, it's foreign, but we need to know it. I kind of like it. I get on the chat GPT. I'm not sure about it. So there's new things like that come into our world that we have to kind of work harder to better understand when people ask us.
Well, that was an excellent final word, Steve. from the beginning to the end, it's been a fun time getting back together with you, and I'm so glad that we were able to cross paths again. More fun than Swanee Business Alliance or Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce, but never dull.
Never dull.
Say, you guys who are looking to capture a little bit of freedom, get my QR code and make sure you connect with me on my digital business card at Ovu. That will give you a look at the influencer podcast. We've got over 150 of them now, Steve, and yours
Awesome.
is absolutely the best we've ever done.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
And I would tell that to a lot of people that, this has been more fun because it's a personal connection. And I want everybody to know that an influencer is one who makes a difference in the world. They don't just go through the world living life in a silo. They're influencing other people. So you've done that. I appreciate it. You can get more information at drbillwilliams.tv about that. One of the exciting things that drew me to you as an IoT specialist was we're involved in AI technology in our company on Passive, and we're coming out with a slew of IoT products.
Awesome.
And we haven't even announced them to the world yet what they are.
All right. Well, I can't wait.
So I'm interested to get your take on it, your opinion on it. As we come out, I'll certainly bounce them off of you and let you know what we're doing. But tonight, we're having a special discussion on OConnect, which is going to be our first commercial release this week of this product. It's a video conferencing platform that has AI built into it. And we're going to feature the language translation. So you can speak to those Brazilians and Argentinians.
Thank God.
Understand them a lot better.
Well, it's interesting because even the new Vision Pro Apple headset unit, it's got a new language conversion program in it as well.
Yeah. So who knows how these things will work. And I'm looking forward to introducing things to the world. It's been a fun time getting together with you, Steve. Thanks for being a part of the Influencer Podcast. You're always going to be a friend of mine, no matter what. I mean, we go back so far, and I'm glad we connected.
I promise the next time I'm up in lovely Swanee, which has been many, many years, I'm definitely calling you, and lunch is on me.
Oh, coffee shop, anything you want to do, or
great.
I'm looking forward to that day. Call me.
Great. I will.
You guys take care on the Influencer Podcast in the audience. We'll see you next week on the Influencer Podcast. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate it.